we'll get started. We're going to do a twisting practice today. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how twisting benefits our nervous system. And I'll talk you through that a little bit once I get you in. We're going to do some twists in the beginning that are going to be kind of more passive, more relaxing, and we're going to stay in those twists for a little bit of time. So the first part's going to be nice and relaxing. Then we'll get up and do a little bit of work, and then we'll come down and relax again at the end. So you're just going to go ahead, come on your back with your feet flat. If you need a pillow under your head, you could do that. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. Okay. So you're going to be in the pose I call Constructive Rest. And you can either have your feet flat with your knees hips distance apart, or you could walk your feet as wide as your mat and let your knees drop together. So those are your two choices for our opening pose. And we're just going to take a little time to settle in, to find our breath. And this position helps put our spine in a nice neutral position. But even when it's in a neutral position, sometimes we have little twists and turns in our spine. So I'm going to ask you to start to observe those twists and turns in your spine. So if you're just joining in, we're coming into constructive rest pose. So on your back with your feet flat, and you can either have your feet wide and let your knees drop in, or you can keep your knees hips distance apart, your choice. And then begin to focus on your breath. And I'd like you to imagine your breath, we're brushing up and down the length of your spine. So as you inhale, travel your awareness down to your tailbone. And as you exhale, that breath comes back up through the spine and out through your nose. So see if you can focus on this central channel of the body, the spinal column, where the central nervous system is housed. So you've heard me talk about that before, so we'll go a little more detailed on that today. So the nervous system housed in the spinal column, and we have the vertebra that kind of protect it. But sometimes we can get compression in the vertebra, and then that can pinch nerves and it can radiate pain out into our bodies. Additionally, the central nervous system then branches out all throughout our bodies through our fascia. And so when there's that pinching and compressing, again, that can cause us pain. So there's always a constant communication between our bodies, our nervous systems, and our brains. Particularly the vagus nerve is that one big major nerve that travels throughout the body to all of our organs. Studies show that vagus nerve contributes to about 80% of the communication of the body to the brain. And there's actually more information coming from the body to the brain than there is from the brain to the body. So we put our awareness in our in our bodies to help facilitate this communication with our brain. So now we're going to observe what the spine is like and if there are any little twists and turns already in our spine. So bring your awareness to your lower back, the sacrum, and see if you can sense, is one side heavier than the other? Maybe there's more sensation or pain on one side versus the other. And just kind of feel and sense into what that's like in the area of the sacrum. If one area feels a little bit lighter or less present than the other, I'd like you to focus on that area or the less painful area until you start to get a sense of things evening out. And then you'll bring your awareness to both sides equally. And it might not fully happen today, and that's okay. We're going to just kind of keep moving up the spine. So now bring your awareness to the back of your rib cage. And notice if one side is heavier than the other, more present, or if there's more pain or sensation on one side. And bring your awareness to the opposite side, the lighter side or the less painful side. And see if you can get your awareness to kind of level out, even out, let that side drop without actually moving it. I don't want you to change anything physically, but we work with the level of this brain-body connection. And now we're going to move up to the backs of the shoulder blades. Same thing. What are you noticing in the backs of your shoulder blades? Is there a sense of one side twisting a little bit more? And can you use your awareness to start to even it out? So our twisting practice, when we anchor into a point and lengthen up from that point, and then turn the spine, it helps to realign where we're kind of out of alignment. It helps alleviate any kind of fascia that might be pulling the vertebra in the wrong direction, and can help the nerves have a little bit more space so they're not being compressed. Also, when we're twisting, there's kind of a squeezing and releasing feeling, and that can help us feel more relaxed and calm. So we're going to come into our first twist in a moment. But first, I'd like you now to observe your whole back body, right and left side. Can you feel an equal awareness on both sides? So we've just spent, a good 5 minutes just kind of observing the body and the breath. Just notice the impact of that. Okay, from here we're going to be coming into our first twist. So take your arms out to a T. And we're going to lift the hips and shift them a little bit to the right side of the mat. And then bring your knees over to the left, coming into that twist. And we're going to gradually deepen this twist. So first decide, is this uncomfortable in any way? You might need a block underneath your knees or between your knees, or a pillow underneath your knees, a blanket. So go ahead and add any props that might help you feel comfortable there. And then we want to try and even out the spine a bit. So how I do that is pulling the left shoulder blade a little bit more toward the left. And that helps even out the shoulders a bit more. And then we're going to just settle here and breathe. Feel that breath through the length of the spine. And I'm going to give you options to deepen. But if you're already feeling quite a bit of a stretch here, you might not want to go any farther. So I'm going to leave it up to you. I'll give you some options. Take another breath or two to settle. Notice where you feel any restriction in the body. So for me, it's kind of along that right lower back region. Now, if it wouldn't cause any discomfort, take your right leg and straighten it out a bit and see if you can lift it and bring it right above the left knee. So now we've deepened that twist. The legs are not intertwined, but that would be the next option. So you're kind of setting your right leg slightly above your left leg, as if they're going to slightly cross. And that's going to deepen that twist. If it's too much, you're going to back out. And again, let your body settle. Send your breath wherever you're feeling that restriction. And if it would feel comfortable for you, turn your head to look over your right shoulder. And then we get a twist in our cervical spine. So another benefit to twisting is we get a little bit of a squeeze to our adrenal glands, sitting right above our kidneys. And the adrenal glands are what is responding to stress. They pump out the adrenaline, and sometimes they can do so when we don't want them to, and then we can't sleep, we're always agitated. So by squeezing and releasing the adrenal glands, it can help them remember that they don't have to always be on the job. Next phase, if you want to, you're going to intertwine your legs. You're going to tuck your right leg a little bit under your left, so maybe your foot wraps under your shin or your knee. So sometimes as we hold the twist, the body has now released. So for me, that initial kind of torquing I felt in my lower back has now subsided. So we're approaching this really gently to begin here today. And now we'll take a few more breaths in the final position. And if you haven't progressed, that's fine. That's your final position for today. Send your breath and awareness to any restriction you're feeling. So although we don't feel like we're doing very much here, energetically, we're getting a lot of benefit from just relaxing in this spinal twist. It really allows any tight tissue to start to release and soften, loosening its grip. So now we're going to come out just as gently as we came in. First, turn your head back to the center if you turned it, and then slide your bottom leg out for a moment if you crossed. And then stack your legs up if you move that top leg forward. Let's have a little moment of settling. And then top foot to the ground, left foot to the ground, and then even yourself out and you give yourself a moment to kind of just be in neutral. Have a breath or two. All right, so we're going to do that whole sequence on the other side. First, by lifting the hips, moving them over to the left. And then bringing your knees over to your right. And again, if you need a prop, something between your knees, under your knees, so that that sensation is not too intense. If it's too intense, we're going to have the opposite effect in the body. And the tissues are not going to release if it's too intense. We want the sensation to be on the milder level. Because if it's really intense, we activate the stretch reflex. So the body will try to rebound and it's going to retract and it's going to try and protect us from an injury. So we want to approach it really softly. Use a nice soft breath. Adjust your shoulders. If you haven't turned your head, you could turn your head. And then we'll gradually deepen. So you might take that top leg and extend it a little bit past the bottom leg if that feels good. And then pause there. Don't go to the cross just yet. Just get that little bit of extra length there. And we'll hold a few more moments. So our fascia contains more nerves than any other structure other than our skin and provides our central nervous system with a rich tapestry of information about our bodies and the environment around us. So our nervous system is always interacting with our environment as well as our bodies. So it senses when there's stress around us, danger, chaos, people who kind of stress us out, all those things, our nervous system is responding to it on a continual basis. Okay, go ahead and now cross the leg if you feel like your body's released enough to take that deeper version, like eagle legs, you intertwine the legs. And if that's not available, excuse me, then stay where you are. Settling again here. Breathing into those areas of restriction. So when the nervous system senses, excuse me, got a tickle, senses that chaos, danger, threat around us, you might start to create that body armor. And that creates more of a separation between us and the external world. And that body armor eventually prevents the communication between body, nervous system, brain, because we have more tension. So by doing this nice soft practice initially here, we're releasing some of that body armoring, allowing us to feel more connected to our environment and other people. Coming out just as slowly, we're going to start to bring the head back to center. Uncross the legs. Stack the knees up. And then we'll bring one knee up, bring the other knee up, even yourself out, and you're going to pause again in the neutral position. And take a couple of breaths along your spine. All right, let's go ahead and roll to the side. We're going to come on up into a seated posture. We'll review a few more things about twisting, and then we're going to do more active twists. So those were passive twists when we were not, fully engaging muscles. We're just kind of allowing tissues to soften. But now we'll do more active twists when we're going to actually have to lengthen through our spine, anchor down, and use our side waist muscles to help us twist. So find the tops of your sit bones, sit up nice and tall. And then we're going to place our hands behind the back of our head. And we'll do some of the work we did when we did our neck practice and also our balance practice from last week. So let's align the platforms of the back body. So the sit bones, the back ribs are not popping. The crown of the head is pressing into your hands. So we want to feel like the upper spine is activated and moving in when we do a twist rather than any rounding in the spine. So if we're rounding, we're going to have more compression. So now lift the back of your skull up, press through your sit bones, take an inhale, and now we're going to exhale, twist over to the right, and we're going to hold it there for a few breaths. Every inhale, see if you can lengthen up a little bit more. And as you exhale, you're going to use your side waist muscles and turn from your rib cage. So rather than from your arms, can you turn your rib cage into the twist? Hold it there, one more breath. And then inhale, lengthen up as you release back to center and let the arms come down for a moment, okay? So when you come out of a twist, it's really important to inhale first. So we're lengthening again to unwind it. So there's no compression as you come out of the twist. So let's do that on the other side. Hands behind the back of the head. Inhale, lift up through the back of the skull, and then exhale, twist the other way. We're going to hold it there for a few breaths. And I want you to feel like you're turning your rib cage rather than your arms. Each inhale, we lift taller. Exhale, see if you can turn your ribs once again. And then inhale it back to center. And exhale, release. Okay, take your legs out straight in front of you. So it's really important to turn from our rib cage. So here's another little tidbit for you. So think of our spine kind of like a sandwich. And the bottom of the spine is our lumbar. So it's the bottom of the sandwich. And then the top of the spine is our cervical. That's the top of the sandwich. And then in the middle is the thoracic spine. Okay, this is very mobile up top here in that neck area and also in the lower back. The middle area is very stiff. So we want to really twist from there, not from those already very mobile areas. And that creates more mobility through our spine. So we're going to sit up tall and bring our hands in front of us. We do kind of this typewriter movement that we do sometimes on our back. Root your thigh bones down, lift the crown of your head, and then we're going to take the arms over to the right and look to the left. Now think about your rib cage. Turn it to the right as you look to the left. Good. Inhale, center, and other side. So we're going to twist arms to the left, head to the right, and think about turning your rib cage. And inhale, center, one more time each side. Exhale. So we inhale first to lengthen, and then we can exhale. One more time, other side. Back to the center. And release. Okay, let's come into our tabletop position for our cat-cows. And we're going to do a little different practice of cat-cows. I want you to think about getting this mobility in that upper back region. So stacking your hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. And we're going to tone the lower abdomen, align the back of the skull with the rest of the spine. So sometimes we're dropping it down. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, I want you to start the rounding from right between your shoulder blades. Push that up toward the ceiling. Keep pushing it until you start to naturally let the tailbone drop and the head drop. And then the same thing, we're going to inhale by starting to drop between the shoulder blades. We're going really slow, drop between the shoulder blades, and then eventually let your sit bones and your gaze lift. Exhale, push up between your shoulder blades, control the movement, round your spine, push your hands into the ground. And then inhale, dropping between your shoulder blades before you lift your sit bones. Then your sit bones, then your gaze. One more cycle. Exhale, start it from between the shoulder blades. And then after this next one, come back to neutral and find your child's pose for a moment. Okay, coming back up into tabletop pose. We're going to tuck our toes, lift the hips up, downward facing dog. And then walk your hands back towards your feet and just fold over your legs for a moment. And then let's inhale, rise all the way up, coming up to stand. And as you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Okay, just do a couple, we'll do a couple half sun salutations, and we're going to start some more twisting, more active twisting. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward over the legs. So it's a little bit of a more chill practice today. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Especially since we're talking about the effects of twisting on the nervous system. Rise up on your next inhale. Exhale, hands to your heart. And let's do 2 more cycles. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise up. Hands to your heart. And we're going to do one more round. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, rise up, last time, and hands to your heart. Good. Okay, we're gonna have those feet, make sure they're kind of hips distance apart, and take your arms out wide. So we're going to try 2 different twists here. One is going to be a fixed pelvis and one is going to be kind of a loose pelvis. So first I want you to feel the fixed pelvis. I want you to root into your legs and your feet, make the legs strong. Pull your tailbone and your sit bones down, get really anchored in your lower body. And I want you to make sure from your lower body down, you don't turn. So your hip points are going to stay straight ahead. We're going to inhale, lift up tall. And as you exhale, turn to your right. And then hold it. Keep your hips pressing forward. And now turn not from your arms, but your rib cage. Turn your rib cage. A lot of times we throw the shoulder back, but I want you to get that twist in your thoracic spine. Good. Inhale back to the center and over to the other side. Pelvis roots down, legs root down, and twist. So we don't move the lower body at all. Stay here, anchor through the legs, lift up tall, and then turn your rib cage once again. Good. Inhale back to center. Exhale, release. Okay, so that was fixed pelvis. So sometimes when the pelvis is fixed and we're trying to move in here, it can be really challenging because some of us are really stiff in this area of the body, and it also can tweak our SI joints a little bit. So there's kind of pros and cons to doing it that way. The next way we're going to do it is to let the pelvis move, but now it starts to torque the knee. So we have to be mindful of our knee when we do the twist when the pelvis is not fixed. Let's try again. Inhale, reach the arms out. This time you're not locking your pelvis. You can anchor your feet a bit. Inhale, lift up tall. Exhale, let your pelvis turn with you. Now notice you might have to keep those knees a little bent so you don't torque the knees. You might go farther now. Inhale, lift up tall. Exhale, turn from your rib cage. So notice the difference between those 2 twists. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Let the pelvis go with you. Be mindful of your knees. Hold it here. Inhale, tall. Exhale, turn a little bit more. And then inhale, back to center. Reach your arms up. And exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. We're going to stay here in the halfway lift. So I want you to do a little bit of a deeper forward fold to neutralize. We're going to start with the hands on thighs and tip your sit bones up. Tip your sit bones up toward the ceiling. It starts that tipping of the pelvis. Now as the pelvis starts to tip, start to bring your belly towards your thighs. You're starting to slowly come into that forward fold. The sit bones are still tipping upward. And then let your hands come down, maybe hold opposite elbows, let your chin come in. And I want you to feel like this deep lengthening of the spine in this position. Hold that one more breath. Very good. And then either pressing up or rolling up slowly, but using your legs to press the ground away. Bring your head up last if you're rolling up, and then pause when you get to the top. Very nice. Okay, make sure your blocks are at the top of your mat, and we're also going to make sure the strap is at the top of the mat. So we'll do more, it's a little bit more active now, so we're gradually picking it up. If you know you need to pad knees for a twist, bring a blanket in as well. All right, so stand in your mountain pose. Align your platforms of the back body, back of skull, back of sacrum, back of heels. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward, hands to blocks. And then we're going to step that right foot to the back of the mat and drop down onto the back knee. We can bring those blocks in line with the front foot. We're going to grab the strap and come on up to vertical when you're ready. So this is going to be kind of a reminder of what we did when we did our neck work a couple weeks ago, but now we're adding a twist. So we're going to have that strap. If it's really long, you can double it up. We're going to put it behind the back of the head. And we're gonna lift the back of the skull like we did a few weeks ago. Press your head back into the strap and lift the back of the skull with your strap. And then find your platform. So back of skull, pull the sit bones down. And then we inhale to lengthen. And as you exhale, you're going to twist toward your left leg. So I'm going to turn away from you for a moment. Twist toward your left leg and pause. Inhale, reach up a little taller through your spine. And then exhale, use your rib cage to turn. Good. Inhale back to center. And actually, I'm going to go the other way so you can see this. You're going to inhale center, exhale, turn again, just like we just did. Okay, lift the back of your skull. And now I want you to keep those inner thighs hugging in, sit bones pulling down. And we're going to start to lean forward toward that front knee. Any amount. You might not be able to go far, that's okay. Come back up and twist back to center. One more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist. Inner thighs hug in. And then lean down a little bit toward that front knee. Good. Inhale, back up. Back to center. And then release. Strap comes down. And you're going to lift that back knee. And we'll come back up to mountain pose, stepping it forward. Fold over your legs. Inhale, we rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. So we'll do that on the other side. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. This time, left foot steps back into the lunge. Drop the back knee down, and then grab your strap. Place that behind the back of your head. And lift the back of your skull up. Pull the sit bones down. Inner thighs hug towards each other. First round, we're just going to twist. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist toward the right, toward your front leg. I'm going to keep those elbows wide. Use your rib cage. Can you turn a little more? Good. Inhale through the center. Exhale, twist again. We're lengthening as we twist. So the strap is helping us lengthen. And then you might do that little bit of a lean forward, press into your front foot, and then inhale back up to the center. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Inhale here. Exhale, lean forward. Good. Inhale back up. Back to the center and release. Set the strap to the top of your mat. We'll use it again later. Lift the back knee and we'll step forward and fold over your legs. Inhale, let's rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay. All right, set your blocks off. You're going to still keep them at the top of your mat for later if we have time. And then grab your strap again. And we're going to come into a warrior one. Let's just put it behind the back of the head for now. And we're going to step forward with the right foot. So I'm going to face this direction, so I'm facing you guys a little bit better. Right foot forward, back heel down for warrior one position. We're going to bend into that front knee. And now we're going to try something a little different with our warrior one, because warrior one is actually a bit of a twist. So we're going to first aim your torso halfway between your back foot and your front foot. Okay, so it's not straight ahead. We're halfway in between. Then we're going to take the arms up, interlace the palms, press the palms up. Okay, make sure your back heel is grounded. You're firm in your back hip, your back leg, and lift the front of your hips up a little bit. Now inhale, lengthen, lengthen, and as you exhale from your rib cage, turn toward the front of the room. And you'll feel that little bit of a twist. Good. Inhale back to center, or to the middle, let's say. And exhale, turn toward the front from your rib cage. Good. Back to the side. side. Release your hands. Let's grab the strap now and do the skull lift. Inhale, lift up through the back of your skull. Really get long through your spine. And as you exhale, turn your rib cage toward the front of the room. Let's do that one more time. Back to the middle. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, rib cage turns into your warrior one. Now stay here. Bend deeper into your front knee. Lift the front of your abdomen up. Lift the skull up. Press your head a little back into the strap, engaging your upper back muscles. One more breath. Good. Slowly release. Let that strap stay on your shoulders and step forward. Shake it out a little bit. All right. So let's do that on the other side. That was some hard work. So now we're going to have left foot forward. Right foot back. And that heel's going to be grounded. You're going to bring the front knee kind of over the ankle as best you can. We're going to turn halfway between the front leg and the back leg. So you're aiming your torso on a diagonal. First 2 rounds, we're going to have the arms overhead. Interlace your palms. Press the palms up. So really find your anchor point through your feet. Press them down. Lift the front of your pelvis up. And then inhale, lengthen. Exhale, find the twist toward the front. Good. Inhale, unwind it a bit. Lift up tall again. And then from your rib cage, turn into the twist. Good. Back to the center, middle, and release your arms. Let's grab the strap. Behind the back of the head, lift it up. So don't go too wide with your arms. You have a little more leverage. Anchor through your feet and your legs. Inhale, lift your skull. Exhale, turn your rib cage, not your arms so much, your rib cage. That back outer hip might really be engaging. That's good. Back to center. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward. And then pause here now, an extra breath or 2. And lift the front of your pelvis. Press your head back toward the strap. Strap into your head. Try to engage your upper back muscles. Good, and then release. Set the strap to the side, step forward, and shake it out. Okay, checking on time. We're going to do one more kind of standing sequence, and we're going to try some seated twists. Find your blocks again. Blanket if you need it. We're coming back to the lunge. Okay, let's inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to blocks. Right foot steps back. Move your blocks back and drop down onto that back knee. Okay, from here, hands on your front thigh, come up. Pull your tailbone down, align your platforms. Okay, from here, we're going to bring hands in front of the heart. Press your palms together, open your chest, and then we anchor down and hug in, just like we did for our balance practice. And then we're going to take another inhale. As you exhale, you're going to turn towards your left leg and try to turn your rib cage. Good. Inhale back to center. Exhale, turn your rib cage. Really anchor down, hug in, and this time lean forward and see if you can hook your elbow onto your knee. If you can't, you can put your forearm down and not do the prayer hands. So I'm going to come around this way so you can see that. So you're either going to hook your elbow, come into prayer hands, or you can let your forearm come down and have your hand on your thigh. But we're going to stay here. And either press down into your leg or into your palms and try to turn your rib cage into the twist. And the more you hug those inner thighs, the more you have stability to turn your ribs. One more breath. Good. From here, unwind to the center. Place your hands on your blocks. back knee off the ground. Make sure your hands are right under your shoulders. Root down, hug in. And then we lengthen, reach the crown of the head forward as you keep your back heel pressing back. Next inhale, we're going to take that left arm and open it up into a twist. Good. Press in your bottom hand, reach your top arm up, and then instead of throwing your arm back, turn your rib cage into the twist. And now we're fixing the pelvis by hugging those inner thighs in. Bottom hand, push it a little bit to the right to help you turn a little more. Good, release, step forward, fold over your legs. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, one more side to go. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold, hands to blocks. Step your left foot back. Drop down onto that knee, pat it if you wish. Your blocks can move back. When you're steady enough, hands on your front thigh. And then we pull those sit bones down, align the back body, and then hands to heart. First round, staying upright. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turn from your ribs over to your right. Remember, those inner thighs are hugging in. Good. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, turn. And now this time, we're going to lean forward. See if you can hook that elbow over the leg. If not, you can put your forearm down and just hold on to your thigh. You're still getting a twist. This is a little deeper. And then magnetize those inner thighs, root down, and see if you can turn your rib cage. Press into your palms. So it's like those bottom ribs spiral down and the top ribs spiral up. Good. Release your hands back to your blocks. Lift the back knee, coming into a higher lunge, and pause. Root down. Hug the inner thighs, and then lengthen your spine. Keeping that length, we're going to take the right arm and reach it up. Try not to throw the arm. So we're going to now push into that bottom hand and turn your rib cage into the twist. The more you anchor through your legs and squeeze in, you'll have stability to turn. You'll have your balance. One more breath. And when you're ready, slowly release. And you'll take that big step forward. Fold over your legs. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Okay, so we're going to come down to sit now. We're running out of time. I'm going to make sure you're sitting on a blanket or a pillow. And if you have a nice long strap, you're going to use it here. Some of us, our strap might not be long enough, so you'll do it without your strap, but I'm going to show you what to do, and you can see if your strap is long enough. So you want a giant loop that's going to be big enough to fit over your right foot and around your back, okay? So it's about, a leg's distance or so. And then we want it to be nice and tight. Okay, so if your strap's not big enough to do that, you're going to do this whole thing without the strap. The strap is going to help you keep your lower back pulling in. It's very beneficial to try it with the strap if you have the strap. And then around the ball of your foot. So right foot, and then we're going to bend the left leg. So if you don't have the strap, you'll just do everything without the strap. And you're going to push your foot out into the strap or into the air. And try to keep your lower back pulling in so we don't round the spine. Everyone hug your front shin and see if you can pull that foot in any closer. Then as you pull on the shin, lift your chest and get that upper spine to activate. So you want to feel like right between your shoulder blades, it presses in without popping your rib cage. So back body still very aligned. Okay. Hold on with your right hand only, reach your left arm up. Inhale, reach up high, and then a big circle to the back, bring your hand to the ground. Okay. Inhale, sit up taller again. Exhale, turn from your rib cage into the twist. Now you might pull with your right hand a bit. That might help you turn your ribs. And you might pull with your back hand a little bit, and that might help you twist. Another thing that can help us stay upright is squeeze your left shoulder blade in towards your spine. Now we're going to allow the pelvis to move a little bit. So I want you to pull your left sit bone a little back and let your right sit bone draw forward so your pelvis turns into the twist. And you might be able to go a little farther now. Inhale tall, exhale, turn your rib cage. Okay, to come out, let's inhale tall, exhale, unwind, come back to center, and let's just take a pause, feel the after effect of that twist. So we've just kind of squeezed all that tissue in the spine, and then we unwind it, and there's a sense of release and relaxation through the spine. Okay, let's switch out and put the strap around the other foot, those of you who are using the strap. And make sure it's down low, so you want it kind of right around the top of your sacrum, not your waist. It should be around your lower back, so it pulls your lower back in. Your sacrum draws into your body. And then we'll bend that right knee and hug your shin. Push out into the strap if you're using it, or just flex that foot and try to get that right foot in a little closer. And then pull the shin towards you to get your upper spine to pull into your body. Okay, left hand holds the shin, right arm up. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, big circle to the back. And then we're going to inhale. Every inhale, we're finding space between the vertebra. And then as you exhale, your rib cage turns you into the twist, and we hold. Keep pushing your foot into the strap. Pull with your left hand. Pull a bit with your right hand. And then squeeze that right shoulder blade in towards your spine to help you stay tall. And now we'll let that pelvis move a bit. So right sit bone draws back, left sit bone forward. So your pelvis is starting to come into the twist. And then let's inhale, exhale, turn your rib cage as you press out through your left foot. Good. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale back to the center. And just pause and feel that release. One more breath. Okay, let's take that strap off. We're going to spend about 5 minutes now neutralizing the spine before our Shavasana. So I want you to have one block. And we're going to put a blanket on top of the block so we have a little bit of softness. A lot of times our twists can aggravate our lower back because that's that really loose part of the sandwich. And we want to really kind of soothe the lower back before we come into Shavasana. So put a folded blanket. So I just folded it in half like this long way, and I'm going to put it on top of the block. And the hard part is to get your hips high enough that you can pull it in. So if the blanket is too much, then you could skip it. Totally up to you. We're going to come into our supported bridge with the padding on the block. So once you're down there, you got to really get those hips up high and then see if you can pull it all in. And then set your sacrum right on the middle there. Feel like you're really right on top of the block. Your sacrum's right on top of the block. I'll give you guys a moment to get there. So even anything out that feels a little wonky, sometimes the blanket gets messed up as you're trying to get it in there. And then we're all going to lengthen the tailbone. So we're going to kind of tuck your shoulders in, come up high on the balls of your feet, and pull your tailbone forward. So you have less of a curve in that low back there. And then you'll feel a little more open. Let your rib cage drop, and you can widen those shoulder blades back out. So this is not one where we're trying to lift our heart. We're just trying to traction the lower back. Feet are hips distance apart. While you're on the block, tip your tailbone a little bit up and let your rib cage get heavier. So the tailbone got lighter and the rib cage got a little heavier. Next phase, if it feels okay for you, we're going to bring those knees up and into the chest. And you might start with your knees kind of over your hips. And if it feels good, start to let those knees come closer and closer to your chest. Now, if you have a really slippery mat, you might need to hold on to your blanket block sandwich. I'm getting hungry. I keep talking about sandwiches today. Let those knees keep coming closer, closer. So we're lengthening and tractioning that lower back. See how that padding just helps give you a little more cushioning there along the sacrum. And those knees might eventually drop all the way toward your chest. If it would feel good, you can start to take your legs a little straighter. We're almost like in a baby plow pose. Your knees are still toward your chest. The legs are getting straighter. And for some of you, you might feel like you might be able to straighten those legs. It's almost like we're doing a forward fold on our backs here. But there's a lot less strain because our spine is neutral. It's not rounding into, we come into a seated forward fold, our spine is rounding. Stay there, another breath or two. Some of you might, if your legs are straight, you might go for a straddle position here. Take your legs apart wide, get an inner thigh stretch. That might feel good. We really didn't do any hip opening so much today. A lot of hugging in. And then we're going to bring those legs back in, knees toward the chest. And then see if you can get that sacrum back toward the block and take your legs straight up toward the ceiling. And feel that sacrum kind of drop down into the block. And we might do a few circles with the feet. Go a few times in each direction. And then we're going to slowly bring those feet back down. You can do one at a time or both at the same time. Back to your supported bridge. Adjust anything that needs adjusting and pause. Tipping that tailbone a little lighter, rib cage a little heavier. Okay, now we're going to start to come out. So we're going to lift those hips nice and high again. Slide all of that out. And if you want, you can take that blanket under the backs of your knees or under your head. You might want to do another kind of knee hug or some circles here before Shavasana. Once you come off of those props. If you want to move into a happy baby, that's an option as well. Trying to keep that neutral spine in your happy baby if you take it. And then we're going to come into our Shavasana. So find whatever position feels right for you today. You might want to support the lower back with a blanket under your knees. Give you a couple moments to settle. So once you're there, if your back bothers you at all, you could come back to that constructive rest with your feet flat. Otherwise, you can stay in Shavasana. And observing the spine once again, let it rest very evenly into the ground. Find that evenness between right side, left side, let them drop into the ground. Into your soft breath. So another advantage to twisting is that it works with the energy of digestion. So it works with what's called Samana Vayu, and the Vayu is just a direction of energy which penetrates inward into the body, helping us to kind of process our food as well as experiences. So if we've had a lot of experiences that kind of rev our nervous system up, if we don't process them, digest them, get them through our tissues, they can lodge there and just continually activate our nervous system. So the twist gives us that energy of samana that helps us process and digest so that we can release it and it doesn't stay lodged in our system. We release the residue of the experience or the food that is not helpful to us. So now is the time to release that residue, what is not helpful in this process of digesting our experience. So I'm going to share a final reading with you as you rest. Yoga relaxation is a thorough unwinding from deep within the body-mind. This unwinding is physical, energetic, mental, and spiritual. And this author is writing about her teacher. She says, my first Buddhist teacher with whom I took refuge, vows, expressed this kind of yogic relaxation in his whole body. He was physically huge, about 76 years old, with his thin white hair pulled into a top knot. And what struck me right away was something I could only call energy. His entire body was radiating ease. And when he looked at me, his eyes were warm with attention and devoid of pretense. It was clear within seconds that I was in the presence of an extraordinary being. Later, I would come to understand that his all-over body ease, attunement, and warmth was no accident. A lifetime of training in the yogic practices had left him a clear channel for wisdom and unconditional love. He was my first teacher of yogic relaxation. The kind of relaxation that has nothing to do with lack of activity. It can become a default state of being, one that is effortless and easeful. And this kind of relaxation is not about being still per se, although stillness can help us discover this deep resource. Relaxation can exist in the midst of the most vigorous movement, much like a rock climber or a dancer. It is possible to be fully relaxed and in motion, just as it is possible to be utterly still and tightly wound. This heart mind, so tied up in knots, if relaxed, will free itself. Have no doubt. Our twisting practice helps us get to that place of relaxation. And we can kind of deeply unwind that tension in our bodies. Let's take a few more breaths there. All right, so starting to take note of the effects of your practice. So again, feeling the length of your spine, whole back body as it rests on the ground. And gradually bringing in that deeper breath, smaller movements. And you can make your way over to your side as you feel ready to. Try not to hurry. And after you've had your pause on your side, let's go ahead and slowly come back up. Feeling that alignment of the back body, the length between those vertebrae rising up through the crown of your head. Sense of the breath brushing up and down your spine for a few more cycles. Can you maintain the length as you exhale? So as you inhale, you'll notice that space between the vertebrae. And as you exhale, can you try not to drop? All right, let's go ahead, bring hands together in front of the heart space. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, bowing your head to your heart. Namaste. All right, thank you so much, guys.